All right, we're finally, game week's here, and it makes you guys happy. You guys, y'all have something to do now. So it's, we're excited, we really are. It's, it's been a long camp. Guys are, you're at that point in the season here early that, you're tired of practicing against each other, and you're tired of preparing. You're ready to get out on the field and find out what your team's made of. So, as coaches, you feel like there's never enough time. There's so many more things to do, but the players they're ready to go. They want to play. So, excited about Saturday getting here.
Any update on the quarterback situation?
No update.
You anticipate taking that into Saturday?
I do.
Publicly?
Yeah, I do.
Do you anticipate more than one guy taking snaps Saturday?
That's a possibility. That's a possibility. We could go with one, we could go with two, we could go with three, we could possibly get to four.
How does this situation compare to what you guys had in 2014? Knowing too that when you named Marquise, it was 2 weeks earlier than you got out there. I mean, is this one more kind of, is this closer or more legit?
Oh no, that was a legitimate battle then. I mean, it's a legitimate battle. I mean, you guys may not think that they're legitimate battles, but they're legitimate battles in my mind. Whether when I announce them publicly, that may not happen the day that I make a decision. But it's very similar. It's very similar. You got other than that year, there's probably just two guys that really had a legitimate shot, and I think that we have an opportunity to have more guys than just two this year.
How much has Chaz improved, developed, progressed since the start of camp, and when did he really kind of make that big jump that kind of put
Probably over the summer. I think he's gotten, he's got quite a bit better than he was last year, and I think that's just a full year into it and understanding the expectations and how we practice and what the focus level has to be each day to be an elite quarterback. And getting to sitting behind Trubisky for a year and watching him and watching how he approached each and every day and what he did was really good for him.
Is Brandon at a point where you're comfortable with his knowledge of the offense and kind of when you change the speeds from tempo and non-tempo and everything?
Yeah. I mean, he's got. I think he's improved quite a bit in the few weeks that he's been here, just as far as the communication, understanding the offense, what we expect. So yeah, I'm comfortable with where he is right now.
If you could have foreseen Chaz's development to this point, would you have made a priority of going out and getting a grad transfer kid?
I would have done it exactly like we did it. I wouldn't have changed that again, because Brandon brings something that none of the other guys have. Is game experience, and so we really we needed somebody in that room with some game experience.
Was the competition extended because they were both so good or because they were so bad?
Well, I guess Saturday will determine that, won't it? It's I just the extension of it has just been because nobody has separated themselves.
When you committed in 2014 to giving Mitch a series or two, as Andrew just said, you kind of named Marquise a starter 2 weeks beforehand. At what point did you commit?
No, I don't think I named him the starter 2 weeks beforehand, did I?
Marquise said that you told him that.
Marquise said he knew, right?
Yeah, okay. Well, okay. At what point in that process did you decide you were going to give Mitch at least a series those first 6 games or so?
Probably going into that last week that we because what I like to do when I'm going to do that with a guy is I don't like him to come off the bench just not knowing when he's going to go. I prefer that he knows, hey, on the third series of the game, I'm going in, and I'm going to be prepared to play on the third series of the game. Where a lot of times when you're the backup quarterback, you never know when you're going to go, and that's the tough thing about being a backup quarterback is that you have to prepare yourself mentally to play from the first snap on, knowing that you may not take a snap in the entire game, and that's a difficult thing. And I think that was one of the things that Mitch in his early development did a really good job of is when a helmet came off and he went out there, I mean, he made a play. you know, and so that showed me that he was prepared. I mean, because that's the only way you're gonna really find out. It's not what you say in the classroom, it's not what you say in the meeting room, I mean, it's what you do when you get out there.
Larry, not to belabor Mitch and Marquise, but you said not naming one of them in advance, that gives you pleasure in kind of having that uncertainty out there for everyone. Does this process give you pleasure, or is that only when you're kind of deciding between two all ACC caliber guys and you got some more?
None of it, I don't really get a lot of pleasure out of any of it, really. I mean, I don't get a lot of pleasure out of talking to you guys, I mean, but I've got to do it, it's part of my job, right? So, you know, that was tongue-in-cheek when I said I get pleasure out of not telling you. I mean, I would prefer, if I could pick it the way I wanted, that somebody had separated 2 months ago and we had named a starter, and that guy went forward as a starter, but that's just not the way it is in this situation. So this is what we've got to deal with, is we got guys that are competing for a job, and we were hoping that somebody would separate sooner than now. It hasn't happened. So, but that doesn't change our plan and the way we go forward.
Larry, you mentioned the guys being tired of hitting each other and ready to get on the field Saturday. Given the inexperience and question marks at several of the offensive positions, is the coaching staff at a point, are you at a point where you need to see?
Oh, yeah, we still got a lot of work to do. That's why I said, as a staff, there's never enough reps. I mean, so, you know, there's always that unknown as a coach of what's a new guy gonna do. And so you're trying to put him in as many situations in practice as possible so you get a feel for how he's gonna react in the game. And then you still don't know, you know, until you get in the game and he's hit in the face with adversity, and how's he gonna react at that point, you know? And so that's the thing that keeps you, you know, awake at night, is trying to make sure that you've covered every detail. You know, when you have experienced guys, the details you're covering are the smaller details, so that they can even get better than what they are and they can climb to another level. Right now, with younger guys, you're trying to cover everything that you can think that can come up in a game, because they haven't experienced it before. So,
You guys have the famous phrase there on the tunnel leading out to the field, the ceiling is a roof.
ceiling is a roof, yeah.
What's the story behind putting that up there visibly like it is?
Well, I think, I just kind of think that one, the people that were there that night, and all the Tar Heels around the country that were watching that game, and when he said it, I mean, that was not something that he thought out and was a part of a speech. I mean, it was authentic. It just came out. I mean, when he said it, and to me, it's something special. It's something that we have that nobody else in the world has. You know, nobody has that. I mean, where the man himself said it, you know, that night, and that'll never change. And so to me, it's almost kind of a rallying cry for our program and for our fans, that we have something special. We got something that nobody else has. And so embrace it.
Did you anticipate that phrase blowing up the way it has when you were standing next to him?
No, I was still, that night I was just trying to figure out what I was trying to say in front of, 25,000 rabid fans, and trying to make sure that what I was gonna say was correct, and I was starstruck at the same time, because I'm standing out there on the court next to him.
Coach, what's the concern that you have the least worry about this final week of practice going into your season opener? What's something that you're not concerned about going into Saturday?
I'm not concerned that we're gonna get the same kind of rain that they're getting in Texas. I'm not concerned about that. It's about the only thing I'm not concerned with.
Running back, you got a couple of oars here, and Stanton Schwartz not listed. Is that
We
sort
got
of?
a lot of oars on there.
A
don't
lot
you
of
notice
oars all
that?
over the place, yeah. Is that the same situation with the quarterback? You just kind of, but at least there you can play multiple guys without kind of.
Yeah, we know for sure we're gonna play multiple guys at that position. I mean, it's gonna be, we're gonna get a feel for the game like we always do with the running backs, who has the hot hand, who's making the offense better when they're out on the field, and that guy's gonna get the majority of the snaps. But there's no doubt in my mind that we will probably play 2 to 3 guys at that position.
Jordan didn't get a lot of reps last year. I think he got 20 carries, but do you see the benefit of the action that he did get
Oh,
last
yeah,
year?
because he traveled the entire year, so he's been through a game day situation, the night in the hotel, just all the different things that you tend to overlook, but they're different for a new player. And so from every aspect, from the bus ride from the hotel to the victory walk into the stadium, what you do in pregame, your personal plan, how you prepare yourself for the game, all those things that for me, I worry about for every one of these guys, until they get some experience and they've done it.
Coach, there's Tommy Hatton and Jared Cohen aren't listed on Too Deep. Any news on their status right now?
Jared Cohen is no longer with the program, and Tommy's still with us and battling to get out there.
When Jared left last year and came back, can you give us, I guess, more detail about that, or how surprising is it that he left again? Or?
Well, I hate it for the kid, and I hope he gets his personal issues worked out, and I wish him the best for just the real world, because that's what he's going to be doing.
When did that become clear to you guys that he was no longer going to be on the team?
When was that? Friday afternoon.
How much of a distraction or difficulty is that to have a guy being groomed to play all preseason, and then right now, I mean.
Yeah, it's not something that you like. It's part of the game. It's just the same way as if you're preparing all camp for somebody to be your starter, and 2 days ago they go down and they're not going to play in the first game. It's the same thing. It's the next man up. That's the mentality that you have to have in this game. You can't fall apart because somebody gets hurt. It's part of this business, and it's the way it works. And so, the kids are conditioned that way, that, hey, I've got to be prepared for my opportunity if I'm not the starter, and, it could be tomorrow, or I'm one ankle away of being the starter. And so they got to prepare themselves that way.
Got a lot of names of wide receiver, and as we heard Bro Corrales early, Daz Newsom, Devin Perry. What do you like about this wide receiver group? What do you maybe have concerns about it?
I like that we have some depth in this group. There's some youth. There's not a whole lot of experience. Austin Prohl has the most experience, and he's done a good job of leading this group. But we've had some guys from, Jordan Cunningham and Daz. Roscoe Johnson has made some nice improvements. So we've had, I've watched these young guys, come through and really make some nice plays in practice. And so I'm excited about seeing what they do Saturday. I know that for some of these guys, it's going to be their first time in a game and on this field. Just in the mock game the other day, Daz was trying to figure out, when the official was talking on his microphone, who that was. Where's that coming from? You just, it's something new for each and every one of them.
What are some of the biggest strides you've seen from Anthony Ratliff-Williams since August?
Yeah, Anthony's, one of the most talented guys that we have at the receiver spot. When you just look at overall athletic ability, speed, just ability, and he has really come a long way. Because now he really started to understand the receiver position. I kind of relate him to, even Ryan Switzer. It took Ryan a while to understand the receiver position and how you're trying to get open and concepts and all those different things. And he became really good at it. And now you're starting to see Anthony turn that corner on, what it means to be a receiver and how I have to practice each day and how I'm trying to attack the secondary and how I'm trying to get open on this man that's covering me. So I think he's made a lot of improvement.
Coach, speaking of Austin, he's also listed as the top punt returner. Was that an easy decision to choose him as number one?
We had a pretty good battle there. It really came down to him and MJ and Daz Newsom, and we had a really good battle. And as we continued through the camp, it was obvious that he was the guy that gave us the best chance of making a play back there and on a consistent level.
How are you preparing for Cal in terms of the fact that they have a new coach and new coordinators? And what are some things that stand out you've been focusing on?
Well, for our defense, the offense coordinator came from Eastern Washington. He was the head coach, and he ran the offense there. So it's pretty much it's going to be that system Now, whether or not all their personnel fits and they can do exactly the same thing, you never know that. Defensive, I mean, for the offense, it's a little bit more difficult because you've got Justin Wilcox, who was the defense coordinator at Wisconsin. He was at, I believe, LSU before that. You have Tim DeRuyter, who was the head coach at Fresno State. So you have to look at Fresno State. Before that, he was at A&M. You got to look at A&M to see, and then you don't know, is it going to be more what the head coach did, or is it going to be more what the defense coordinator does? So there's a lot of unknown there. And then special team coordinator came from Arizona. So there's a lot of unknown as far, I mean, you know, we're looking at a lot of tape, wasting a lot of time when it comes down to it, as far as really, when you get into the game, here's what they're going to do, and you prepared for all these different things, and you really didn't need to, because that's not what they were going to do. But you have no way of knowing. So you spend a lot of time trying to over-prepare so that your kids have some kind of idea of what's going to happen in the game.
Have you had any experience going up against Wilcox, Baldwin?
No,
or
I
Leonard?
haven't. I haven't.
Do you know those guys at all?
I do not know Justin. I know Tim DeRuyter. I've known Tim DeRuyter for a long time, and so I do not know Justin, though. I've never met him. I know I've followed his career. He's done a heck of a job everywhere he's been.
Larry, how much more control do you have over guys like this time of year compared to like the summer when kids first report? And what's kind of like the support structure like for?
Control, what do you mean?
Well, in terms of just like, maintaining, some level of control over their schedule, meetings, that kind of thing.
Yeah, when we get into, we have complete control during camp. I mean,
Right.
because that's all there is just football. So, I mean, we have them from, 6 a.m. in the morning till we put them in bed at 10 o'clock at night. So we have complete control of every minute of their day. Once school starts, they become student athletes again. And we don't, during the day, we don't see them. They'll come over for meals, so if I happen to be eating lunch when they come in, I see them then. They come in for their lifts during the day, and then the other time, they're students. And so you don't have that, we don't have any control over that. So once they get over here, I mean, we get control for 4 hours a day. That's what we get, for 20 hours a week. That's what our control is.
What about guys when they report over the summer, like a freshman who comes in June or whatever? I mean, do you have a lot of?
You get a couple hours a week that you can meet with a kid, and that's it during the summer. And then they're with the strength staff and the strength coaches the rest of the time. And then they're also going to school at that time.
It's 3 straight years opening with a Power 5 opponent. Do you have a preference in that respect you usually open the season with?
Yeah, I do like doing it. I like doing it. I would like to have a team that has a staff in place one of these times. That would be nice, But unfortunately, that's just not the way it's worked out, and it's made it really difficult.
At least you don't have as many new staffs this year as you had early last year.
No, I don't have 7 on the
Yeah.
schedule this year.
Coaches, what are your thoughts, just kind of on the hurricane, especially with you and family down there?
Yeah. Yeah, I've talked to quite a bit of them through the week, and it's, it just depends on who you talk to. When you talk to my dad, who's 82 years old, my main garden, I mean, it's drenched, and tomatoes are down, and, I mean, he's more of a, what are you gonna do about it, Just ride it out, and we'll see what happens when it's over, and got friends and family that have been in the Houston area that have had to evacuate and all those things, and so they, they're wondering about what they're going back to when they ever get to go back to it, So it's it's bad for a lot of people. It really is, and they're unfortunately, there's just not a whole lot you can do, and I don't know that that you could have been prepared for it. I mean, they're saying it's the worst thing that's ever hit down there in 800 years. So, our thoughts and prayers with them, and I know there's a lot of, I've noticed that there's a lot of volunteers from all over the country that are going down to help, and so that's good to see that people are pulling together to go help. What I've read, they've anticipating over 50 inches of rain in a lot of places. So that's, I mean, in a matter of a couple of days, they've got more than they get in an annual rainfall. I mean, so, and the water doesn't have anywhere to go. So it's, we probably don't know all the devastation and won't know until probably another week or 2 weeks from now.
Anything else? One of the youngest guys in your secondary, Miles Dorn, how has he come along after having a year under his belt?
Miles Dorn's got a chance to be a star, I really think so. You know, if he keeps progressing the way he has, I mean, he's gonna be not just a good football player, he's gonna be a great football player. He really understands what he's doing back there, he's more vocal now, he's a part of it, but at the same time, he's taking a lot of ownership in it now. Last year, he was just part of the secondary, just trying to, do his job. Now he understands the job of everybody and how he fits, and now he can get people in the right places and communicate with them. So he's really come a long way.
You got a handful of sons of former players, not just at Carolina, but in the NFL as well. Is it healthy to have that relationship? How do you cultivate that? And are they a part of the process at all?
Well, I mean, it just depends. They're as much of the process as they want to be, I mean, but they're also dads, and so they don't, Ricky Prohl, I mean, you would think, somebody, he's not around a bunch. He's not, he's not trying to be involved, or, he's supporting his son, and he's being a dad, and which is what he should be, and all those guys. But there's a lot of things that Austin has learned from his dad, that you see in the way he runs routes and the way, so that's definitely a benefit to have a dad that has that experience and that you can learn from.
All right, thank y'all.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank y'all.